But guys, this perfume, I will need to find new words to describe. This perfume will make you feel like a queen. Gosh, it's so good. I wish you could smell it through the screen. It's the epitome of femininity. It's soft, it's natty, it's so gorgeous. You will turn heads. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Giselle, I review fragrances, and today is all about elegant perfumes. So the first fragrance I have on my list of elegant perfumes is 𝘽𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙯 by Louis Vuitton. So if you're familiar with this brand, their designs are always very bold, edgy, unapologetic. And in fact, I have a couple necklaces from them and they are very chunky, very bold. I love them and I love their designs. However, the last thing I expected to find coming from this brand is a fragrance like 𝘽𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙯. And I say this because this perfume is quite the opposite. It's so gorgeous, so stunning, but it's very demure, it's very feminine, very soft, very creamy, very velvety. It's the epitome of femininity in a bottle, I'm telling you. It has a very prominent chestnut and silk accord that makes this perfume very unique. It's super duper silky. It's very sensual. It's very modern as well. It's classy, but in a modern way. It has nothing vintage in the DNA. It's very elegant. As I was saying, totally 100% signature scent worthy. I will never get tired of this fragrance. I hope they never discontinue 𝘽𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙯 because it's a keeper for life. It literally smells like silk with chestnuts. It's very unique, it's very creamy, as I was saying, very velvety, super sensual. Now, it is a mass appealing fragrance. However, you won't turn heads left and right with this perfume. Why? Because it's very demure and it sits close to the skin. And yeah, it doesn't have that wow factor that you walk and you will leave a huge trail behind you. It's not gonna happen. However, when people come close to you and they smell it, they will love it. That has been my experience so far. And I always get the same type of comment. It's like, wow, you smell amazing. And some people also told me it smells very luxurious. And it does. It smells very expensive, very high class, very, elevated. It's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. It's not cheap at all. But if you're ready to spend some money on a very beautiful kind of demure scent, I would definitely recommend 𝘽𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙯. To me, this is a typical cold weather scent, very versatile. You can wear this to work, but you can wear this fragrance also for a date night. I think most men that smell this fragrance on me loved it. I think it's very sensual. It's also very elegant. That's why it made it to this list. Very sophisticated, and you won't regret. If you like this type of scents, if you don't like to command attention, but you really want to smell divine and polished and sophisticated without turning heads, without being the center of attention, I think you should definitely try 𝘽𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙯. It also has a rose note, which is in the heart. It's so beautiful, guys. It's so different. And I think this is one of those fragrances that honestly truly lives up to the hype, in my opinion. Aside from the chestnut note, which is very prominent together with the silk note, it has a very distinctive cocoa note in the base, which adds a gourmand aspect to this fragrance without being edible or anything like that. This is not a gourmand fragrance at all. However, it does have a gourmand aspect thanks to the cocoa in the base. Beautiful fragrance. I highly encourage you to try this perfume if you like, again, demure fragrances that makes you smell divine and polished and chic and put together, effortless chic without grabbing too much attention, if you know what I mean. So yeah, 𝘽𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙯 by Louis Vuitton. So the next fragrance I have on my list of elegant perfumes is Les Champs de Camargue by L'Artisan Parfumeur. So this fragrance is everything and then some. It's something very different. I like unique fragrances. If you're like me, that you're always searching for something different, it's okay with the hype fragrances, and many of them live up to the hype, and that's fine. However, I always try to find fragrances that makes me smell different, right? And yeah, this is one of those. It's another demure fragrance, super duper feminine. It's a woody floral. It looks totally feminine. Supposedly it is unisex and you can wear whatever you want. However, in my humble opinion, I have to tell you, this is 100% a feminine fragrance. The nose behind is Alberto Morillas. Is one of my favorite perfumers of all time. Everything he makes, it's beautiful and refined and sophisticated, and this fragrance is no exception. It has a very particular note that I love in perfumery, which is rice. And Camargue rice, like the name of the fragrance, Chant de Camargue. Camargue is a type of rice that's red. Probably that's the reason why the label looks like this. I don't know. I'm pulling my creative strings, but probably that's the reason. It's very, very beautiful. This fragrance is also a sandalwood fragrance, and I think the rice note together with sandalwood takes this fragrance to a whole new level. I think that sandalwood and rice are a match made in heaven when it comes to creating notes in perfumery, and they nail it here. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's very different. And again, it's a very demure, very feminine, very soft, very sophisticated, very chic type of scent. It's a type of fragrance I would wear when I don't know what to wear, because I know I will always smell good. Similar to 𝘾𝙤𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙧𝙧, not similar scent-wise, they smell completely different, but it's that type of profile of chic, effortless chic type of scent. Those fragrances that could be your go-to when you don't know what to wear and you know for a fact that you will smell amazing. This fragrance to me is the epitome of elegance and tranquility. It has a very calm zen type of component. It's like a fresh powdery rice. It's so good. When I smell this fragrance, it makes me think of a Japanese garden, green, dewy, calm, super zen. It's just divine. As I said before, the most prominent note here is rice, but also sandalwood, which you will get more in the dry down, although you will smell the sandalwood as soon as you pull the lid off and you sniff this fragrance. The sandalwood is there. It's very creamy. However, as I said before as well, the rice here, it's powdery, but the powdery rice here, it's more like fresh and airy rather than makeup case type of powdery aroma, right? It's a completely different thing. Very, very mass appealing, very sophisticated, totally effortless. And this is an all year round type of fragrance. 1000% office safe, although I think this is like way too sophisticated, I would say, to wear every day. Nothing against that. You can wear whatever you want, but I think that if I wear this to work, if I wear this to the office every single day, I will get tired of it. And I think it's too beautiful for that to happen. I don't want to get tired of this beauty. Yeah, highly, highly encourage you to try Le Chant de Camargue by L'Artisan Parfumeur. The next elegant perfume I have on my list is Babylon by Penhaligon's. Guys, if we are talking about elegant fragrances, we have to talk about saffron, right? So this fragrance is saffron on steroids. Now, this fragrance is blended with vanilla and sandalwood. I would say those three are the most prominent notes, and we have a match made in heaven here. Because if we have sandalwood, saffron, and vanilla, we can say we have a spicy, creamy, buttery, woodsy, cozy vanilla fragrance, right? And vanilla is very enveloping, it's very cozy, it's very inviting. It will add a gourmand touch, a gourmand aspect to the fragrance without being a gourmand scent. But I think it also adds a lot of femininity. Fragrances that usually have vanilla, spicy fragrances with vanilla tend to be more feminine leaning. It's not a rule, of course. Let me try it here. Gosh, it's so good. I wish you could smell it through the screen, as I always say. I feel so selfish. I can't be just myself here smelling this beauty. It really is gorgeous. Very elegant, very sophisticated. 100% a nighttime type of scent, especially during the colder weather. I think this is a typical cold weather type of fragrance. Gosh, it also has cypriol. Cypriol oil is it's a note that provides fragrances smoky accord, which is not this case. This fragrance is not smoky, but it gives a lot of depth. It gives an earthy component, and it also provides an intense woodsy aroma. Usually cypriol is used in perfumery to add complexity to fragrances and to create sophisticated perfumes. So it's not uncommon to see cypriol in fragrances that smell expensive and smell luxurious and very sophisticated, because that's what cypriol does. This perfume is super duper elegant. It's one of my favorites from the house, from Penhaligon's. Penhaligon's has very, very sophisticated perfumes, but I think this one, together with Halfeti and a couple more, it's class in a bottle. This is so luxurious smelling, sophisticated. This perfume will make you feel like a queen, or better said, like the queen you are. It lasts all day on my skin, all day. And when I say all day, it's true. I have to get in the shower and scrub my skin to get rid of this, because it really is very long lasting, and it projects beautifully in the first 2 hours. It has a beautiful sillage as well. The sillage sometimes can be a little bit, I don't like to say obnoxious, because it's a gorgeous fragrance, but you have to be mindful with the sprays, because again, this is a saffron forward fragrance, and saffron can be very strong. So be mindful with this one. And I think the colder the weather, the more you will be able to overspray, but be mindful because it's a very strong fragrance, but it lasts all day. So if you're looking for a beast mode fragrance performance wise, this is it. You have to try Babylon by 𝘾𝙁𝙧𝙖𝙧𝙀. The next elegant fragrance I have on my list is 24 Rue de l'Université by YSL. This perfume belongs to 𝘖𝙧𝙧𝙧 collection, you know, those that come in a beautiful golden bottle. So this one is part of 𝘖𝙧𝙧𝙧, part of that collection, but it belongs to the couture line. So it comes in a black bottle. This line is, in my opinion, more exclusive. In fact, I haven't seen many people talking about the couture line from 𝘖𝙧𝙧𝙧. But guys, this perfume, I will need to find new words to describe this fragrance, because I don't even know how to start. It's so elegant. It's a sandalwood fragrance. It's a drier sandalwood, but it's absolutely out of this world. Seriously, this is a keeper for life. So this perfume is so good. It's an oriental, woody, spicy, slightly smoky type of scent, perfect for this time of year. All these fragrances are typical cold weather scents, but of course you can wear them whenever you want. If you like Cabane from YSL, I'm pretty sure you will like this one. I would say Cabane is more feminine and this is a tad bit more masculine. Let's say one is the yin and the other one is the yang of 𝘖𝙧𝙧𝙧. It's 100% a unisex fragrance. It leans maybe a little bit more masculine, but I can say that it's 100% unisex. So this fragrance has two of my favorite woodsy notes, which are sandalwood and cedar. And of course, if we are talking about elegant perfumes, I have to tell you, as much as I love sandalwood, cedar is more elegant. The king when it comes to elegance in the woodsy note. And yeah, cedar usually it's a note that we often see in masculine fragrances or masculine leaning fragrances. However, this is completely unisex. It's also a creamy fragrance. Aside from the sandalwood, it has suede. So it is creamy, but the cedar there, it's pulling a little drier. So it kind of balances the creaminess, and it's what makes this fragrance probably more unisex. Now, if you like creamy, buttery, sandalwood or woodsy fragrances, I would still recommend that you try this one, because although this is drier, it's not a dry sandalwood. There are other sandalwood fragrances out there that are dry. This is not. Like I said before, it is a tad bit drier than your standard sandalwood fragrances, and that's because of the cedar. But regardless, it's a super sophisticated fragrance. You will turn heads with this one. It definitely is a head turner. People love it. I've been stopped at the streets to ask. I had to write down the name of this fragrance at least a couple times last year. I remember I haven't worn this fragrance this year just yet, but I remember wearing this fragrance last December. I was in a hotel and I recall two gentlemen that came to me and asked what I was wearing, and I had to write the name down for them. It's very long lasting. It lasts more than 8 hours on my skin. The colder the weather, the longer it lasts. I always like to test fragrances in the summer. For example, I love to test typical winter scents. And in the winter, I love to test typical warm weather fragrances, right? Because I like to see how fragrances behave under different weather conditions. And for the most part, I've been surprised in the best possible way. So don't be afraid of experimenting, trying new fragrances, new scent profiles. It doesn't matter if it is summer or winter, whatever. Just wear whatever works for you, whatever brings joy to your life. But as a content creator, I'm reviewing fragrances, and I have to tell you, this is more like the typical winter scent, and it will last longer. The next fragrance I have on my list of elegant perfumes is Reptile by Celine. I love Celine fragrances, and Reptile is everything I expected black tie to be. I think black tie is a beautiful fragrance, but it can't compete with Reptile. Honestly, I don't get the hype with black tie. However, I would get the hype had it been the case with Reptile, because it's an absolutely stunning perfume, very different. This is a smooth leather scent. It's very, very sophisticated. Wow. It screams class, it screams wealth, it screams luxe. It's so stunning and so unique. I think this is a typical cold weather type of scent. Honestly, I could be a little biased because I remember when I bought this fragrance, it was a freezing cold afternoon in New York. And you know, when you see something and then it's difficult to unsee that, the same happens with fragrances. Once you attach a memory to a fragrance, it's very hard to detach from it. So that's probably what happens to me, because every time I smell this perfume, it reminds me of New York, but in particular, New York during the winter. So yeah, but anyway, this is a 100% cold weather type of fragrance. Aside from my memories and my bias, it's a winter weather type of scent. The colder, the better. And I noticed that the colder the weather, the smoother the leather will smell. And it is a leather fragrance. However, it's a very smooth leather, nothing animalic here. It's buttery soft. It reminds me of Italian Napa leather, a very expensive Napa leather jacket. This is what Reptile reminds me of. And let me tell you this, you have to like leather fragrances to enjoy Reptile. However, even if you don't like leather fragrances, I highly encourage you to try this one, because sometimes you think you don't like a specific scent profile just because you had a bad experience with that. Maybe you didn't try the right ones. Maybe you weren't in the right mood or the right season, because season, temperature, humidity, all those factors impact the way we perceive a fragrance. So I highly encourage you to try this one because it's very different. It's a unisex fragrance, 100% unisex. In fact, I recommended this fragrance to many male followers I have on Instagram, and they all loved it. They all loved it at first sniff. They sent me a DM and they all thanked me for that, because now it's their signature scent. They are all in love with Reptile. That said, I also know many ladies who love Reptile just as much as I do. And yes, it probably leans a tad bit masculine, but I always feel that a touch of masculine energy in fragrances give perfumes that je ne sais quoi. So I highly encourage you to try it. It's very unique, very different, and I'm in love with Reptile. To me, Reptile is the epitome of grown, sexy, and confident. And yeah, as I was saying, it's a cold weather type of scent. During the winter, you will notice it pulls a little bit drier. Well, if you try this fragrance in the warmer months, it will pull creamier. I'm not saying it's better during the summer or the warmer months, because yeah, a creamy fragrance, it's very beautiful, but a drier fragrance, wow, it's so elegant and so sophisticated. This dry component that the fragrance pulls during the colder months takes this perfume to a whole new level. Please try Reptile, you won't regret. And the last one for today, guys, is Santal Calling by Ex Nihilo. No wonder I had to include an Ex Nihilo fragrance if I'm pulling a list of elegant perfumes, right? Because all of their fragrances are super duper elegant. I could have included many others. I just want to rotate the fragrances, and I don't like to repeat my fragrances on my videos too often. So today it's Santal Calling's turn. And it is a gorgeous, gorgeous, creamy, buttery soft, sweet, musky type of sandalwood. Santal Calling is a very different sandalwood perfume. One thing I truly love about sandalwood as a note is that it's so versatile. And despite the fact that you can always identify sandalwood, you can always smell sandalwood when you smell woodsy fragrances. And if the sandalwood is there, which 90% of the times is the case, you will always be able to identify that note. However, all sandalwood fragrances smell completely different, like vanilla. You can find vanilla in 1,000 fragrances and they all smell different, right? This one in particular is very unique, and it has that typical uniqueness component I told you about that I love about Ex Nihilo, because all of their fragrances smell very different than what I smelled before and what we have on the market. And in this particular case, as I was saying, this is very milky and it's also creamy. It's creamy because of the sandalwood, but it's also milky because it does have a milk note in the heart. And the heart notes or the core notes is what the fragrance is about. right? So when you see a milky note or a rose note or a chocolate note in the hard notes, whatever that note is, it will be dominant. Highly likely it will be dominant, and you will smell that particular note in the fragrance. So this is the case with St. Calling. It also has a very beautiful dry down that is very cozy, very enveloping, and of course it has vanilla. Vanilla typically does that for fragrances, and also provides that touch of a gourmand aspect to the perfume, right? This is not a gourmand fragrance at all, like at all. This is not edible or anything like that, but it's sweet. And as I was saying, it's creamy. And that lactonic component together with the vanilla in the base could make the fragrance smell a little bit gourmand, but it's not a gourmand fragrance. So if you look for gourmand fragrances, don't buy St. Calling thinking you will find that in this perfume. But it's so, so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's pretty long lasting. It lasts between 6 and 7 hours on my skin. I wore it also during the summer. I think this is more like a typical colder weather scent, like all of the fragrances I have here on my list. However, I wore this during the summer and it smells beautiful. It smells creamier. However, it lasts less than in colder weather. It's a perfect day or nighttime type of scent. It's very ladylike, very sophisticated, very feminine, very elegant. It's so elegant, you guys. It's so effortless as well. This is one of the few sandalwood fragrances that you can even buy as a gift to someone. Even if that person is not into fragrances, highly likely they will like this one. It's very mass appealing. I like to test fragrances. As I said, I test fragrances all the time, and I love to see how people react when I wear a fragrance and I get a compliment. Yes, of course, we all love compliments, right? But I take those compliments more as raw data rather than a vanity thing, right? I really like to bring those compliments on board when I review fragrances because it tells a lot about the fragrance too. Yeah, this is very, very mass appealing. I also get compliments. I'm not going to say every time I wear this fragrance because honestly, I haven't worn this fragrance that much. But when I wear this fragrance, usually I get compliments. And yeah, as I was saying, even if the person is not into fragrances and you want to give them a fragrance that smells different than the typical safe perfumes, this is a very nice one and people will be very grateful. It's very, very, very special. I don't remember if I mentioned that it's a unisex fragrance, but to me it leans more feminine, and that is thanks to the iris here. The iris note makes the fragrance automatically more feminine, even though iris has a typical scent profile that people usually identify as leathery or powdery or waxy or even lipsticky. In this case, it's nothing like that, but still it's present, and it's what gives this fragrance a touch of femininity to an otherwise probably masculine leaning scent. So yeah, I highly encourage you to try St. Calling by Ex Nihilo. So guys, this is it for today. I hope you truly enjoyed my video about elegant perfumes. Let me know in the comments if any of these fragrances spark your interest or if you're familiar with them. And if you would like to know more about any of this, just leave a comment down below or send me a DM on Instagram and I'll be more than happy to give you more information. Stay safe and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.